All right, excellent. So it's been up for a few minutes now. I may as well get started, I suppose. So have a drink first because I have a bit of a sore throat. So if I get a bit husky or something, yeah, I'll just need to stop and have breaks. But I did want to say that it's okay. It's not COVID-19 because I'm still a good 1,000 kilometers away from any of that. And because in Australia, we all know what prevents it, like I know I'm safe because, we got in early. So yeah, we're in the same situation as everyone else where there's nothing on the shelves in the supermarket, but luckily we're kind of like minor preppers all the time. So we're just holding out until everyone stops going a little bit crazy and things appear again. So Tamara here. Hello, Tamara. If I say anything about your workshop you want to add to or anything, go for it. Tamara's doing 2 workshops this year, so they should be excellent. And yeah, let's start talking about this year's summit. So I have to admit, when I was putting this year's together, I was getting a little bit worried at one stage because we had a few great presenters last year who weren't able to join us this year, and it was getting really hard to fill the lineup. So I had a few other workshops organised that got cancelled, and it just felt really difficult to pull it all together this year. But I kept at it, and I think I've got a really fantastic lineup now, thankfully. And if you came along and last year and you suggested a topic, then I managed to get most of them covered this year. And I will take you through the topics today as well. So first up, if you haven't been to an Australian Homeschooling Summit before, here is how it works. I've been getting a lot of questions about this because I don't have a great deal of information on the page about the nuts and bolts of it, but I am going to add it in today or hopefully by tomorrow at the latest. So it is all online, so you don't need to go anywhere because in Australia that excludes virtually everyone really. It would exclude me because I'm 1,200 odd Ks from a capital city. So we run 30 workshops over 2 weeks. We run 3 per weekday. We have the weekend off so that we can pace it, so that we all get a break and you can catch up. We run the workshops within a pop-up Facebook group, and that's full of really friendly and helpful people. There's always a really great vibe in there. It's a great community. We have a lot of fun. We do a lot of troubleshooting and helping each other out. And the workshops will screen within the group at the allotted time, and you can ask questions and chat. The presenters will be around to answer questions and help you out. So it's not just we play a video and you watch it and you go, oh, that's really good, but I have a question about this stage of it, or I'm not quite sure what you meant when you said this thing. You can actually ask and you can get the help, so you can make the most of each of the workshops. Now, some of the workshops are live and some are pre-recorded. So I think it's about half-half this year. Either way, the presenter will answer the questions that you have at the time the workshop screens. And most hang around for the rest of the summit and they continue to chat and ask questions. So if you're late to a workshop, you've got a probably over 95% chance that any questions you ask will get answered by the presenter at some stage. So if you miss the workshop time, the replays are still available. They're available both within the Facebook group and on the website. So if you are not on Facebook, as many people aren't, I think we had like somewhere between 10 and 20% of people who got tickets to last year's weren't actually in the Facebook group. So if you're not on Facebook, you can still watch them. I even send out a link for the live workshops so that you can watch them as they happen within the workshop software that I use instead of on Facebook. And you can ask questions in there. I'll keep track of them and I'll give them to the presenters so you can get them answered live. I'm definitely not going to make you miss out because you are not on Facebook, because I think not being on Facebook is pretty awesome. If I didn't have this page, I would probably be gone. So when I put the workshops on the website, where you can watch them for as long as they're up, which should be for many years to come, I also split the sound out and I give you the MP3 files so you can listen while you do other stuff. So some people will listen while they go for a walk. Janet is part of a traveling family and they're going to listen while they're on the road doing all their long road trips. And for all of you who have terrible internet, so everyone in Australia who's not on the NBN lines, you can download both the video and the audio files. So you can go to your library or you can borrow a friend's good internet. You can download them all and you can watch them at home despite your 5 megabyte per second patchy download speed. And I'm sure someone's going to listen to this and go, ha ha ha, I wish I had 5 megabytes a second download speed. So let's have a look. Haven't got any questions yet. Got a few people here, but everyone's quietly watching at the moment. All right. So another question I've been asked a few times is it just for Australians? And the answer is no way, definitely not. So we definitely have an Australian flavour, and some workshops are predominantly useful to Australians, like April's about the Assistance for Isolated Children and the National Disability Insurance Scheme. But anyone can benefit from lots of them. So I'm doing some workshops about habits and also studying and working, and Patricia and Renelle will are also doing workshops about organisation, and they will apply to everyone. Tamara's strategies for teaching science will apply anywhere. We've got workshops about books and living books from Erin and Anthony, and books are great no matter where you are. And the mindset and life coaching strategies from Andrew and Heidi are also pretty widely applicable. So just have a look through the workshops, and if there are plenty there that suit you, then join us. We've got people from, so far, I know we've got people from the US, from Canada. I'm not sure if our Bulgarian friend has joined us again, or our Madagascan friend who comes along to lots of our stuff, but we have had people from everywhere, and I'm yet to have someone write in and say, you know what, none of this stuff was useful to me. So yeah, give it a shot. And the really good thing is that our dollar is not fantastic. So you can pretty much halve the cost if you're dealing with euros or American or Canadian dollars. Now, my kid said this was a good idea and I should do this. So let me get started. I feel nervous now. Right. So one little problem you might struggle with is Australian accent. Some people say that, and I don't think any of us have really bad Australian accents like this one. So we should be pretty understandable. Okay, I'm stopping that now. But if you've come to Australia and you have had problems understanding people, especially in North Queensland where you hear stuff like that, then you should be okay understanding us, because I don't think anyone here speaks stereotypical Australian, and there's generally not a lot of lingo and funny sayings and all that kind of stuff. So you should be right. Okay, so that answers the main questions. So yes, it is all online. Yes, you can rewatch the recordings whenever you like, both on Facebook and on the website. Yes, you'll be able to download both the audio and the video. And yes, people are welcome and will find use for the workshops from anywhere in the world, basically. Okay, so Pamela asked a great question, and I'm glad you did, because I didn't have this on my list. If we paid last year, do we need to sign up again this year? Yes, each of the summits is separate. So we've on the website at the moment, we've got 2017, 2019, and 2020. And yes, each one is a separate product. Each one requires a $25 fee. So yeah, that's basically what we use every year to run all this software and do all this organization and host the website and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we do need to charge each year for that one. All right, so one thing that I have not been able to deliver that I get asked is transcripts, especially for deaf people. So I will try the YouTube and the AI transcripts again this year, but they are usually too inaccurate to be of any help. Unfortunately, with 30 plus hours of recording, the cost is prohibitive to have it transcribed. It would, I think last year I worked out, it would cost me around $3,000 to get it all done. So if anyone has any suggestions, I would love to hear them, because I would love to make it more accessible. I have a moderately deaf son, so it's something I feel terrible for not providing, but I simply can't find a reasonably accurate way to do it that doesn't cost thousands and thousands of dollars or take weeks and weeks of my time. But if you have ideas, I would love to hear them, because I would love to do it. All right, so let's go and have a look at the workshops. I'm going to drop the link in the comment so that you can all follow along with me on the website if you like. I don't have my separate keyboard plugged in, but that's okay. Here we go. And I will just swap to screen sharing. Like I said, new software. See how I go. I ran through all this morning and last week, so should be right. All right, there we go. So you should be able to see it now. So this is a page that I just shared in the comments. It details all of the workshops that we'll be running during the summit. And so I will just give you a quick run through of each of them. And if you've got any questions about any of them or anything you want to say, then go for it. Drop it in the comments. I'll drop back in and I will check pretty regularly. All right. Yeah. And as we go through too, just let me know what you think. Like, are there any that you're like, yes, I have to watch that one? Any people you're really excited to have back? Anything like that? Let me know. That's always good when I'm asking people for summits too. Like, people really, really want to hear about this topic. So yeah, it definitely helps me a bit if I've got you saying, I love hearing about this. All right. So the first up is me. I'll do the first workshop and I will say hello, and then we'll get stuck into talking about homeschooling habits. So I'm going to be talking about how all the little things that we do either add up for a positive effect or they add up for a negative effect, and the sorts of habits that we can have that will make homeschooling easier and more effective. Because your habits can work for you or they can work against you. And we'll talk about things like keystone habits. So they're big things that you can do that have, or I should say small things you can do that have a big effect and make everything a lot easier. So next up we have Andrew Lord. He posted a podcast with me yesterday, and the link to that should be just below this Facebook Live if you want to go check out his stuff and listen to him. So he's a teacher turned life coach who runs fantastic programs for young people in the Port Macquarie area. And he'll be talking about how to set your kids up to win by giving you the keys to engaging learning experiences to help motivate and inspire your kids and get away from the boring, repetitive stuff. Next up, Tamara Kidd, who is here in chat, is going to be talking about socialization and isolation, which is a really big concern for a lot of people. So she'll talk about isolation while homeschooling and how you can create or tap into a fantastic homeschooling community and avoid that isolation. Now let's go down to day 2. So day 2 is going to kick off with Vicky Oliver, who runs the Wildlings Forest School on the Sunshine Coast, and she'll be talking about unschooling and the common concerns, like, you know, how will they learn to read and do maths, how will they go to university, and she'll reassure you that yes, the kids really will be all right. And then we've got Tamara Kidd again, who's busy for the first couple of days. And this is for you if you struggle with reporting for registration. So this is Tamara's special skill. She's a teacher with graduate qualifications in education, and she is going to walk you through how to recognize everyday learning and put those everyday learning experiences into EduSpeak or educationalese, so that when it comes to reporting time, you have a fantastic document that covers all the learning areas comprehensively. So this is more retro reporting. You're looking at the things you do and saying, oh, you know what, that covers this learning area and that covers this learning area. So don't miss this one if you have to write reports, no matter what state you're in. And Belle Moore is back again this year. She is taking advantage of her uncommon situation to help you out. So Belle has graduated 6 children from homeschooling, and she's just about to begin again with her 4-year-old. So she's sharing her reflections on what she did the first time, what she'll be doing this time, and all of the things she's learned from lots of experience that she's now looking at with fresh eyes. She's about to plunge into it again. All right, so down to Wednesday. So we're going to kick off the day with Karen Wilson, who's going to help you start homeschooling like a pro. So this is Karen's bread and butter through Simply Homeschool. Many of you will know her and many of you will have taken advantage of her fantastic programs. So she helps parents get started pretty much every day of the year. And she has distilled all of her experience down to the vital elements, both in what to do and also what not to do. Next up, we have the lovely Lucy Austin, who is new to the Homeschooling Summit this year, and she is chatting about navigating neurodiversity. So neurodiversity and special needs are always highly requested, and I always have so much trouble finding people to talk about them. And then Lucy came along, which is fantastic. So she's going to talk about what she's learned homeschooling her 5 children with diverse needs, and strategies that we can all use to help us out. And then we've got books, because we all love books, right? You know, if you're a homeschooler, it's pretty much standard that the average homeschooler has a much bigger bookshelf than the average person. So Anthony Cofield runs Living Book Press, and he republishes old classics like the Charlotte Mason series and the Newry Maths books. And he's going to chat about using stories to help our kids learn and have fun while doing it. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be doing some reading aloud. So make sure you tune in for that part of it. All right, next day. What are we up to now? Thursday. All right, so now this workshop is fantastic. I've seen bits of it. It's Erin Hassett's 5 adult children and her daughter-in-law, who were all homeschooled, and they're talking about it from the perspective of having actually gone through being homeschooled. And from what I've seen and what I know of Erin's family, you're going to love it. It's a beautiful example of grown homeschoolers and just how lovely and well-spoken and close they can be with each other. It's really nice in the few bits and pieces I've seen. So if you're worried about how your kids are going to be growing up, then watch this one, because it will be really, really reassuring. Okay, so after that, we're getting back into the technical stuff with Esther White from Maths Australia, and she's chatting about evidence-based ways to teach maths and why mathsability is so important. So this is something that we can do better than schools, because Australia's PISA scores are really woeful, and they're getting worse. So if you want to learn some easy and effective ways to teach maths and to get your kids above average, watch this one. Okay, and then Rachel Clark is back again. So her workshops last year about unschooling and natural learning were very popular. And here she's going to be sharing her hands-on resource ideas. So fun and interesting ways that you can get some concrete learning into your homeschool, because it's definitely not all bookwork. We learn by doing, and Rachel will help you find lots of ways to do that. Now on to the last day of week 1. So Carol Hudson is new to the summit this year, and I'm really glad she's joined us. So if you're at all interested in Charlotte Mason, you would have visited Carol's blog, which is called Journey and Destination, because she has been homeschooling for 27 years. And she has detailed over the years how she adapts curriculum to suit Australians and her family personally. And it is a huge valuable resource for anyone considering a Charlotte Mason education. And she's going to share what she's learned and how you can do the same to create an individualised and Australianised Charlotte Mason in this workshop. So next up is the wonderful and exuberant Heidi Conway. She's a life coach and homeschooler who runs Genius Camps for students aged between 12 and 15 who want to discover their unique talents, passions and purpose. So in this workshop, she's going to chat about how important communication is while homeschooling, and how you can help your child think and grow and learn, and also how you can deal with bad days and challenges in a positive way, because, you know, those bad days, they come up, unfortunately. All right. Now, the last one for the week is Erin Hassett. So this is a great way to finish the week, and she's going to walk you through creating your own educational book lists. So Erin is like a walking encyclopedia of books. She has a massive library, like an actual library in her house, which is fantastic. And her kids that you saw earlier have all had a literature-based education. And in showing you how to create your own book lists about topics, you will also be able to implement a literature-based education. You know, so when you get your history books out, you'll be able to say, hey, you know, I'm going to come up with a book list about this period in time, and we'll all read these living books and we'll learn a lot, and we won't even notice that we're doing it. All right, so then we'll have the weekend off. We can catch up on workshops, we can recharge, we can have a rest, and hopefully I will get my usual screen-free Sunday, because I love having that break, and then we will get back to it on Monday. And I am just going to have a quick drink and look at the comments. Okay, so Lisa says she's looking forward to Rachel, and Friday looks amazing. Yeah, Friday worked really well. It's a really good way to round off the week, I think. There's a bit of something for everyone there. So Lucy's here, and she's looking forward to all of these. And oh, and Lisa's saying she has her education department meeting in 35 minutes. Good luck with that one. hopefully the stuff you got from last year will helped you sort of put together some reports and plans and bits and pieces. I did have a Western Australian workshop all lined up, all ready to go, and then a disaster happened like last week and they had to pull out, which, was terrible. But hopefully we can do that again next year. Or even sometime this year, maybe I can run it separately. I don't know, but I'm trying to get all the registration for all the states covered at some stage. All right, so Monday, week 2. Let's have a look at it. So we're going to begin with Marie from Nature Study Australia, and she's going to show you how you can begin nature study, no matter where you are or how earth mama-ish or unscientific you are. So she's going to share how to get past the common blocks and how to get outside with your kids and learn about all the wonderful and interesting things you observe. And I just said that last bit into my cup, so I hope you heard it properly. That should be really fun. We've got tadpoles under the house at the moment, and Asher came up this morning and said, we've got 147 frogs. And I said, yeah, I think you really need to find somewhere to take them because that's way too many frogs to have as pets. And plus, I think it's illegal to keep them for more than a week, so we better get them gone soon. Right, so next up is History and Geography with Mafanwi Dibben from Ed Consult, and she's going to run us through a fairly rigorous approach to history and geography that is actually interesting. So no dry and boring high school history like you remember, like I remember for sure. I used to sleep through half my classes. This is the good stuff that will get your kids learning a lot about these subjects, but will also help them to exercise critical thought, evaluating evidence, and discussing what they have learned. So as I said, special needs. You asked last year, so I have tracked down some people. So April Jeremy from Always Learning Books is going to walk us through the process of getting our homeschooled kids assistance via the NDIS, which is the National Disabilities and Insurance Scheme, and what we're able to access as part of that. Plus, she'll talk about assistance for isolated children payment. So that's a regular payment for kids who can't attend school for whatever reason. So this could lead to your child getting more services funded and your family having more money to access other services and resources. So don't miss this one if you're dealing with any sort of special needs. I'm going to be there with my pen and paper. My NDIS application is in at the moment, so I'm keen to find out what sort of things we can get funded. So next day, Tuesday, and on Tuesday Andrew Lord is back and he's going to show us how to work with our kids around their mindset, so about their beliefs and attitudes, because these really are crucial to success. So I think the saying is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, and I think that's Henry Ford. So Andrew is going to show us how to raise kids who know they can and who have the confidence to take the steps that they need to get there. So next up is the superstar Beverly Payne from The Educating Parent. So she's back for her 3rd summit now. She's been for everyone, and she's going to give us a realist's view of homeschooling. So it's really easy to get on Instagram and think that everyone's life is easier, everyone else is doing better than we are, but we all struggle sometimes. Homeschooling is not easy. So Beverly is going to talk about the downs as well as the ups, so you can go into homeschooling with a realistic expectation of what you're going to run into. And if you're already homeschooling, you can be reassured that what you're experiencing is probably pretty normal. Okay, so organisation. Who feels like they need to get more organised? My hand is up in the air at the moment. I'm not the most organised person. So Patricia Fitzgerald is going to help us organise the chaos that comes with the stuff that we need. So the records we need to keep, the to-do lists we need to tackle, so we can get what we need to do done without drowning in mess. So hopefully she'll have some tips for me about how to make sure that I can always access scissors, because they are just never where they're meant to be in this house. I don't know what it is about scissors. So what do we got here on Wednesday? Oh, look, there's me again. So while homeschooling, I have studied externally. I've also got a Bachelor of Nursing with distinction. Those two things are related, actually. I studied externally and got a Bachelor of Nursing with distinction. I've run 2 businesses at separate times, not at the same time, including this online one. And we have also traveled a lot while doing these things. And I'm not superhuman. There is nothing particularly special about me. So if you're worried that you will have to sacrifice everything that you want to achieve while you're homeschooling, then come along, because you don't have to. I would have run away a long time ago if that was the case. If it was just homeschooling, bed, repeat, yeah, I would have screamed and got on the next plane to the Bahamas. So next is the lovely Renelle from A Walk in the Wildflowers, who is back. Even though last year she had a tech glitch and her slides didn't work, but she pulled that workshop off with style, and she is brave enough to try again, probably thinking that it can't be any worse. So she's going to help you fit in the feast of education by showing you just how you can manage to fit in what's required for a Charlotte Mason or classical education. So if you have ever flicked through the Well-Trained Mind or the Ambleside online outline and freaked out by just how much there is to do, then watch this, because it will help you. Now, Wednesday afternoon is a surprise workshop. We had an emergency cancellation and we are tossing around what to fill it in with. So I will let you know what that is as soon as possible. On to Thursday. And on Thursday morning, Heidi Conway is back again, and she is going to be doing some live coaching. So helping homeschoolers with specific issues using the I Grow model. So you can submit an issue or a question that you're having, and Heidi will help you come up with specific strategies and ideas that will help you to address that issue. And many of these issues are fairly common or universal to homeschoolers, and the model is a fantastic one we can all use when dealing with our own issues. So that is definitely worth a watch. So next up we have Nikki Farrell, who is also from Wildlings Forest School. So if you remember Vicky Oliver from week 1, I've just realized they're Vicky and Nikki. Sorry, you probably hear that all the time, but yeah. So Nikki is going to talk about wild schooling with your family. And if you haven't heard of wild schooling, it's a growing education movement that sees a connection with the natural world as essential, and sees kids spend most of their time outdoors in nature and learning naturally. So if that sounds fantastic to you, then watch this one to learn how to implement it with your family. Okay, now last thing, Thursday evening, Rachel Clark is back again, and she will be showing you the most commonly used online resources and websites for homeschooling, and talking about what each one is, what it does, who it's good for, and helping you make decisions about what you invest in and how to spend time online, because that can get really, really overwhelming and confusing really quickly when you're trying to compare 15 different online resources with each other, and this one has this feature and this one has some other feature, and what do I actually do? All right, so on to the very last day. So we're going to kick it off with Tamara Kelly talking science. So Tamara used to work for the CSIRO running workshops for school kids. She runs outdoors camps in Southeast Queensland, and I remember going to her place, and while our kids played, we'd have a cup of tea while we were reading science magazines and chatting about them. So we're both kind of like next level science nerds. And she has a special knack for making things interesting. So this one will be well worth your time. She's a teacher as well. So if you're a bit lost by how to teach science, you'll get a lot from this workshop. And I know last year her workshops were also really highly reviewed. She did one about theme planning for Queensland registration in particular that had a lot of people saying, this is fantastic, this is how my mind works. Loved the ideas in this, so make sure you watch this one. Now, the last workshop we have details for is a collaborative workshop. So a few of us have gotten together to talk about how we afford to homeschool. So all of us here who are presenting have managed to find ways to afford it. And in this one, we will chat about the ways that we have made it work, from lifestyle redesign to how to find free and cheap curriculum, and all sorts of ideas. So if you think you can't afford to homeschool, or you're a bit worried about how you're going to make your money stretch, hopefully we can show you how you can, and that you don't have to compromise on education just because you don't have thousands of dollars every year to spend on it. Now, very last up, we had another cancellation. So this will probably be another workshop from me just to round off the summit. I'm not sure what yet though. If you have any requests, let me know in the chat. I should really have finalized this by now, but I've been so busy over the last week, I haven't really had the headspace to consider it properly. So I'm sure if any of the presenters are watching, they're raising an eyebrow about how much I've harassed them about deadlines, and yet here I am skipping them. But I've got a really great excuse, I think. So yeah. And right down the bottom is where you can join us. It's only 25 Australian dollars to get all of this. So that's all 30 workshops, the Facebook group, the recordings, the MP3s, the downloads that go with the workshops, all for as long as I keep them up, which should be many years to come. So we intentionally keep it really affordable because we know that many families, including a lot of our families, are on one wage. Lots of us don't have a big disposable income. So we do our best to make it accessible to everyone because in the end, we're all here to help you out. So it's an excellent deal. It's less than $1 a workshop. So even if you only have a couple that you look at and think, oh, I really like the look of that one, then you'll still get your money's worth. All right, so that's all of them. I'm going to come off screen sharing now, hopefully. Yeah, it worked. Go me. So yeah, like, what do you think? Who's already coming? Have you got any more questions about the summit or any of the workshops? I will go have a look now. But if you have any questions, even after I finish this up, if you're watching the recording, then you are welcome to drop the questions in chat or in the comments and I will answer them for you. So let me head back over and I will have a look. All right, let me have a look. There's a lot of comments actually, so I'm just going to have to skim through these quickly. All right, so Emily said this one, I can't wait, but I wasn't looking at it, so I don't know which one you're talking about. Sorry. Deborah said it looks amazing. She's looking forward to the neurodiverse workshop. Emily said lots of amazing people. I know lots of fantastic people have turned up out of the woodwork, so I think that's great. So Lucy said she's listening to this today while they have a paper crane folding party. Are you going for the 1,000? I think we got up to like 200 and something at one stage, mostly my eldest daughter, but not the 1,000. Deborah said, I'm confused about registering for this one. Do I automatically get registered if I registered last year? No, you don't. They're separate events. So yes, you do have to register and pay for this one the same as you did last year. And there we go. Tamara said that as well. When will the replays be accessible? Okay, so that basically depends on how busy I am during the summit. Last year, I was very busy. I ran it from Croatia. The time was backwards. I was very sleep deprived. I still managed to get the live workshops edited and uploaded to the site within 48 hours. So yeah, generally the pre-recorded workshops will be up at the same time that they're available on the Facebook group. So at the time that they are booked in to run. The live ones, I just need to download, do a bit of editing, add to the site, blah, blah, blah. So I can generally get that done within 24 to 48 hours. Lucy said, I've done an amazing job. Thank you so far, touch wood. Okay, Danielle McInnes said, looks great. We'll try to find a link. I think I've still got that in my cut and paste. So let me give you that link. There we go. Answered that question. Here we go, still going down, still going down. Lisa's looking forward to Rachel. Yes, Rachel always has lots and lots of help. I was taking me up to the top of the comments again. Hannah Hishon said, been here since the first summit. Can't wait to join again this year. I'm going to have to really love that comment because that's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us all the time. Lucy said they're not making the 1,000, but my 10-year-old told us all about the history just now. That's fantastic. All right, so I think that's all the comments. Like I said, if you have any suggestions on what I should do my last workshop about or anything else or any other questions, I will answer them as soon as I am able. You can drop them in the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube after I upload it there, you can put a comment in on YouTube and I will answer it there. Yeah, so I think that's about all. We would love to have you join us. We had, I think about 850 people join us for the live part of it last year, just in that 2 weeks. And we've had over 1,200 people now join last year's summit. So it does get pretty big. It's pretty popular. I can also say that I have never had to refund a single person. Not one person has ever emailed me and said, it's not worth it, or, you know, this is junk, give me my money back. So that's a pretty good, yeah, pretty good thing overall. I will also put some testimonials from last year up on that page so that you can see what real people said in the review after the summit. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much about it. Yeah, Naomi said, thanks for putting this on. This is my third summit too. Can't wait. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for coming along all these years and supporting us and helping us out. And yeah, that's great. All right, so I'm going to go now. Luckily, it got a bit cloudy outside, but I'm still going really, really hot here. So thank you for coming along. Any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. And hopefully I see most of you in the summit group really, really soon for the workshops.